Hello guys, my name is Sudhanshu Kapoor. I am your instructor. So today we talk about internal load balancer in Azure. Okay, so in my previous video we talk about how we can configure public load balancer. Now today we talk about how we can configure internal load balancer. Okay, so first we see the topology. That what topology I am using in this in the for this practical. Okay, so I just open MS Paint now first. I'm showing you, like, see, imagine that this is my Azure region. This is my Azure region over there. Okay, this is my Azure region. I'm using over there East US, East US. Okay, and in that, imagine I have two load balancers. This is my first load balancer. You can call it. It's a public load balancer. Okay, it's a public load balancer. You can say that it is used to public load balancer. Okay, it is used to you can say that manage the outside you can say that the internet queries. Okay, and like imagine that I have VMs over there. This is my one VM, second VM, and I have three VMs. Okay, and it sends the queries, internet queries to the VM equally. Okay, understand, like we have this is my servers. You can say that this is my Windows Server 1. Okay, and imagine this is my Windows Server 2. Okay, and this is my Windows Server 3. Okay, so all the requests are comes first, public load balancer and public load balancer divide these requests equally. Like imagine if public load balancer has 100 requests. Okay, 100 requests. Okay, so what happens in that case? So this load balancer, public load balancer, divide these requests equally with server 1, server 2, and server 3. So imagine it divides like this, like this. Imagine 30 requests goes there, okay, 30 requests goes there, okay, and 40 requests goes there, like this. Okay. Now we have another load balancer. You can say that is the internal load balancer. You can say that this is my internal load balancer. I placed one internal load balancer. Okay, and in that we have the VMs. Okay, so like I have a SQL server VMs. You can say that. Okay, or you can say that, yeah, this is my SQL server VM. So these queries for SQL server, you can say that. Okay, so first it goes to public load balancer. Public load balancer divide these queries to the servers. Okay, now all servers send this query to my internal load balancer like this. Okay, so this is my internal load balancer. You can say that I call it internal load balancer. Okay, and now this load balancer again divide this queries to my SQL server equally, like this. Like imagine this is my SQL servers. This is SQL 1. Okay, SQL 1. Okay, this is my SQL server 2. Okay, and this is my SQL server 3. Okay, so now you already know that. So also what happens in that case? All the 100 requests, so 30 requests sent by Windows Server 1, 30 requests sent by Windows Server 2, and 30 requests sent by Windows Server 3. 40 requests, I'm sorry. Okay, so total 100 requests come there now. Now over there we have 100 requests are there. Now these 100 requests divide again. So this so again they go for 30 for there, okay, and 30 for there, and making it so 40 for there, like this. Okay, so this is the process. Okay, so we can place multiple internal load balancers also. It doesn't mean that we can place only one internal load balancer. We can place multiple internal load balancers also. Okay, so this is the diagram actually. Okay, so what I taught to tell you that public load balancer works on public IP addresses. Okay, you can say that it uses public IP addresses, public IP. Okay, and your internal load balancer uses private IP. Okay, so this is the process. You can say that how your load balancers works. Okay, so now I'll showing you one more thing, that how what now what is my topology, how I can manage my these things. So you can say that right now I create one first. This is, imagine this is my region now. In this region I create one first VNet. Okay, so imagine that this is my VNet. Okay, this is my VNet. Okay, so again this is my this is Azure region, region. So I am over there again, East use. Now I'm showing you how we can implement, what the topology we are using. Okay, so this is my VNet. You can say that is the one VNet I create. Okay, in this VNet I create one resource group, number one. Okay, so I'll just mentioning over there, number one I can make one resource group. Okay, RG known as resource group, resource group. Okay, and number second, we need to create three VMs, three virtual machines. For this, three Wi-Fi 3. Two is for I can get two servers for adding in internal load balancer, and one is for testing. Okay, because it works on private IP address, so I'm not able to test my private internal load balancer on the internet. Okay, I need a separate domain, I need a separate virtual machine. With the help of that virtual machine I can test. Okay, because this load balancer works on private IP address, so we need three VMs. Two VMs I'm adding in my internal load balancer, and one VM for testing. Okay, and we can create number third, we can create one internal load balancer, okay. So one we have resource group, one we can create three, and we can create the availability set also, like we already created previously. Okay, so we can create availability set also. Okay, we can add the VMs in, and my VMs work as a web server, so I am using the same scenario, web server. So my two VMs who working as a web servers. Okay, I add those two VMs in one availability set. Okay, and then after that I create a one internal load balancer, and add both the virtual machines in my internal load balancer. Okay, and with the help of third VM we can test the things. Okay, so that is what we need to do. Okay, so I hope you're able to understand the diagram. Okay, what we need, we can follow the previous diagram, but previously we have only two VMs, and we can test through public, we can test through browsers. But right now I don't have I already told you that the internal LB works on private IP address. Okay, so we need a separate VM also to test the load balancer. Okay, fine. So let's start, guys. Let's start with the practical. So I have a portal now. I already opened my portal. Okay, so first we need to create a VNet. Okay, virtual network. Okay, so I'm going to get a virtual network. So with virtual network I already configured my resource groups. Okay, so with the help of you can say that when you're going to create a virtual network, okay, it's automatically tell you that you need to create a resource group. So resource group is automatically there. So as you can see that the subscription and the resource group. So I'm going to create a new resource group over there because I don't have any resource group right now. So this is my internal LB. Okay, the resource group name is internal LB. Okay, click on OK. Internal load balancer, the name of the resource group is. Now I need to give my VNet name, so this is known as VNet 1. Okay, and I put this VNet in my East US location. Okay, you can use any location. Right now I'm using East US location. Click on IP address, it's automatically you have 10 IP address, 10 region IP address, and default subnet is 10/24. IP address is 10. IP address range is 10/16, and the default subnet is 10/24. Now go for security. Firewall is disabled. DDoS protection is enabled. Okay. Now tags, we need to give the name and then VNet. Click on preview and create. So I hope all of you know now how to create VNet, because you can create VNet so many times. Okay. So now it's running final validation. If everything is fine, they highlight the create option. You can see that validation passed. Click on create. So I'm going to create now VNet, initializing development. Okay, so now my VNet is going to create. So as you can see that the VNet is created now. I just click on home and click on virtual network. So as you can see that my virtual VNet 1 is created. successfully. Okay, and the resource group is internal LB, which we created. Okay, so now we go for home. Okay, now we need to create 3 virtual machines. Okay, so we go for virtual machines now. With the help of in the time of at the time of virtual machines, we can create availability set as well. Okay, so click on add first. Okay, my internet is slow. Just some minutes. Okay, so I can choose internal LB, the source group which I already created. Now I need to give the name Windows Server 1. It's my first virtual machine. Okay, and I need to choose the location East US. Okay, now availability options. So I can use over there availability set. You can say that availability set. Now you can notice that availability zone. Okay, now it is showing availability zone. Okay, so availability set is there. Now I need to choose availability set. Now they ask me to create availability set. Click on create a new availability set. I just click on create and create new. Okay. Okay, so now I need to give the name of the so this is known as internal load balancer. Okay, 1. So I give the name like this. Okay, and I need to give one OK symbol. I use default domains 2 and update domains 5. Okay, so I already told you default domain update domains in my previous video. So default domain means like if your you can say that virtual machine in the same default domain share a common power source and physical network switch. Okay, the default domain means like the server where my virtual machine exists. Okay, fine. So it says that if we have the default domain, so by default we have 2 types of domains: default domains and update domains. By default, all the virtual machines are running in default domains. Okay, and after that we have update domains. So if you can say that, like, if the virtual machine in default domain, so it accesses that server resources by default. Okay, now update domain is known as, now in my one availability set we have 2 default domains minimum, you can say that. Okay, now up in the update domain means that update domain is the domain where if imagine that, like, we have 10 VMs in my one availability set. Okay, now imagine that out of 10, 2 VMs need to update themselves. 2 VM need to restart themselves. Okay, so what Azure do? Azure automatically send those VMs to update domains. Okay, so in update domains we can maintain, we can do maintenance in our VMs. Okay, so by default we have 5 update domains and 2 default domains. Okay, we can increase or decrease this value also. Okay, it's a minimum value, by default value, you can say that. Okay, we can do 1 also, but you can say that the update domain count must be 1 when default domain count is 1. Okay, so minimum we need at least 2. Okay, and minimum we can go for 5. Okay, it's a minimum settings, you can say that. So simple click on OK. Now you can say that my availability set is the name of the availability set is internal load balancer 1. Now I need to give the image, so I give 2016 image. Okay, now I have to give the username and password through which I can access this VM. Okay, now I need to allow my HTTP and RDP, okay, both the protocols, and now simply click on next. I'm using the disk premium SSD. Okay, click on next networking. It automatically connect with VNet 1. Okay, it's automatically taking the subnet also, and everything is fine. Click on manage. I don't want any monitoring right now, so I off monitoring tool. Click on advanced, click on tag. Okay, you need to give the tag name if you want. If you don't want, it's okay. You can skip this process, this step also. Review and create. Now it's going to check the validation. If everything is fine, they're showing me the create option. Click on create now. Okay, so now, so as you can see that my Windows Server 1 virtual machine is going to create. You can see that the deployment is underway still. Okay, so I just discussed one thing also. Meanwhile, that I hope you're able to understand what is default domain and update domain. Okay, so if we're talking about default domain, I go again that default domain in Azure, so they have a rack servers. Okay, so by default, when you create any VM, okay, when you create any VM, it automatically created that particular servers. Okay, that is known as default domain. Okay, so by default in your one VM copy two domains, means you can say that your one VM copied two servers by default. Okay, so if your if your server a default domain server is down, one server is down, so at least your VM is running because your VM saves in second domain also. Okay, and what is the update domain is that update domain also is a kind of logical group, you can say that it's a kind of logical group. Okay, so when your VM, when any VM is going to update, or when any VM wants any maintenance, so Azure automatically send that VM in update a domain, you can say that. Okay, fine, it's a logical group, you can say that. So automatically your VM send means you can send migrate to update domain, and then on the in the help of domain on that in that case you can maintain your VM, you can restart your VM, you can update your VM and all those stuffs. Okay, so I hope you're able to understand update domain and default domain. Okay. Okay, so as you can see that my Windows Server 1 is one is deployed successfully. Your deployment is completed. Okay, click on Home now. Click on Virtual Machine. So as you can see that my Windows Server 1 is created. Now I'm going to add Windows Server 2 as well. Okay, when I'm going to create a okay, first we can see how we can create the Windows Server 2 machine. So I'm going to create another virtual machine. His name is Windows Server 2. Okay, my internet is a little bit slow today. Okay, so I just choose now my already existing resource group which I already created. Now I give the name of my virtual machine. It's Windows Server 2. I choose location. I put this machine in East US. Okay. Now I choose availability set over there, availability options, and I already created one internal load balancer one. So I use same availability set. I put both the virtual machines in same availability set. Now I'm use over there 2016 server. Okay. Now I need to give the username and password. Sorry. I need to give the password. Okay, it's a password. Okay, now we need to go to this week. Okay, I'm sorry, the image is 2016 now. Now it's selected. Okay, and now I need to go to the RDP and HTTP two protocols. I can choose. Click on next. Premium SSD I'm using networking. In networking, it's automatically everything. Okay, management. I don't want any management memory options right now. Tags. Okay, name Windows. Okay, review plus create. Okay, so it's running final validation. Validation pass, going to create now. So as you can see that the virtual machine is going to create. Okay, so as you can see that the deployment is completed. I click on home, click on virtual machines. So as you can see that both the virtual machines are created now. Okay, now I'm going to create a third virtual machine. Okay, and it's a test VM. Okay, so that VM is not a part of the availability group, and that VM is not a part of the internal load balancer. Okay, it's a test VM. So with the help of this VM, I'm going to test my internal load balancer. Okay, fine. So I put this VM in a same resource group. It's okay, but this is the test VM. You can say that. Okay, and I put this VM again in same location East US, but I am not using any availability set and all in this VM. Okay, and choose simple 2016 server. Okay, and I need to give the username and password. Sorry, I'm busy. Okay, now I need to okay, I just use only RDP because this is for testing, so I go for only RDP. Simple. Click on next. Now premium SSD. Okay, you can say that it's connected automatically with VNet 1. It's loading over there. Okay, so this VM I'm going to connect with the my virtual VNet which I already created. Okay, I connect this VM with both the virtual machines, but this VM is not a part of my network load balancer. Okay, I don't want any management. Okay, I don't want any management options now. You need to give the tags and review plus create. Now it's checking running validation. Okay, now simple click on create. So as you can see that the initial deployment or the now submitting deployment, now this VM is going to create now. Okay, so as you can see that the deployment is completed now. So as you can see that if I click on virtual machine, so all the virtual machine is created successfully. Okay, I have one test VM and we have two servers. One is Windows Server 1 and one is Windows Server 2. Okay, so now I'm going to create an internal load balancer. So how we can go for that? Click on home, click on load balancers. Okay, this time I'm going to create internal load balancer. So simple click on add over there. Okay, so now I choose the resource group, same internal LV. Okay, now I need to give the name of my load balancer. So this is internal LV1. Okay, and I using East US. So I'm using East US location. So now this time I use internal. The type of the load balancer is internal, and I'm using SKU basic. Okay, now I need to select my VNets. I'm using VNet 1. Okay, so now I'm taking the subnet. Okay, and the IP address assignment is dynamic. Okay, so it's automatically giving the one IP address to this load balancer. Okay, in the range of this subnet. Okay, now simple click on tags, click on next tags. Need to give the name, and this is for load balancer. Okay, now click on next, running final validation pass. Click on create. So now I'm going to create a load balancer now. Okay. Okay, so as you can see that the deployment is completed. So I click on home, click on load balancers. So you can see that my one load balancer is created. I need to refresh once. It's showing me my load balancer also. As you can see that the internal LLB1 is created now. Okay, now I need to configure this load balancer. A simple click on this. Click on internal load balancer. Now you have four options: front-end IP configuration, backend pool, health probe, and load balancing rules. Like previously, how we can configure those things. Okay, the same thing we have. So click on front-end IP configuration. Okay, so right now you can see that the IP address of this load balancer is 10.0.0.7. See, it takes private IP address. Okay, but previously, if you see the public load balancer, it takes the public IP address. Now it works on private one because it's an internal load balancer. Okay, so IP address is automatically taken. Now click on backend pool. Okay, so now I'm going to add the backend pool. Okay, so I just simply click on add backend pool. Okay, now I need to give the pool name. So this is my, okay, I go for again pool 1. Okay, and I choose over there virtual machines. Okay, so I need to add my virtual machines. This is my Windows Server 1 and the IP address is 10.0.4, and the Windows Server 2 IP address is 10.0.5. Okay, I'm adding both the virtual machines. Okay, I'm not adding VM test VM because with the help of that VM I'm going to test. Okay, so click on add now. So it's adding both the virtual machines in the backend pool. Okay, so as you can see that the deployment is completed now. Okay, and if I expand this pool, you can see that both the machines are added successfully, and you can see both the machines private IP addresses is showing right now. My server 1 IP address is 10.0.4 and my server 2 IP address is 10.0.0.5. Okay, now my backend pool is configured. Now I'm going to health probe. Click on health probe, click on add over there. Okay, and now I'm using over there, this is my give the name. This is internal LB1. Okay, this is the health probe name, and I using TCP. Okay, port number 80, and we're using internal 5 into by default. So we already discussed this. What is 5 seconds and what is consecutive failures and all this. Okay, in previous when we creating public load balancer. Okay, the same thing we are going over there. Click on OK now. Okay, now the simple it's updating. You can say that. Okay, it's adding creating the health probe now. Okay, so as you can see that the health probe is created now. Okay, successfully. Now I need to go to my load balancing. So I'm going for load balancing rule. I'm going to set the load balancing rule. So it's updating. You can say that. I need to first refresh the portal once. Okay, or it's still updating the things. Okay, so now you can see that health probe is created, and now I'm going to go for load balancing rule. Click on add over there. Okay, so this is known as, you can say that's a rule one. Okay, and now I'm using IPv4. Okay, my load entire load balance IP address is 10.0.0.7. It's automatically taken. Now I need to put the protocol. The protocol is TCP. Port number 8080. I'm using pool 1. We have two virtual machines in this pool. Okay, and my health probe name is internal LB1. I'm using TCP over there. Okay, so as you can see that I'm using session persistence none. Okay, and I'm not using the floating IP address over there because floating IP address is used for SQL servers only. Okay, so the timeout of the you can say that the timeout is 4 minutes by default. So I already told you in public load balancer also. So once the request goes to server 1, it says 4 minutes on server 1. Okay, if client again sends the request after 4 minutes, it will automatically switch to server 2. Okay, so click on OK now. So I just set the rule now. You can say that it's saving load balancer rule. Okay, so as you can see that my rule are saved now in load balancer. Okay, so we are successfully configured internal load balancer now. Okay, now I'm going to click on home and click on virtual machines. Now what I need to do, now I'm going to create these two servers as a web servers. Okay, so for that first we need to take remote to those two servers. So click on Windows Server 1. Okay, and click on connect. Click on RDP. Okay, and over there we have a download RDP file. This server 1 file. I go to same in server 2. Download file. This is server 2 file, and I'm going to test VM also and access the file also over there. Okay, so all the files are there. Okay, so I'm going to create take a remote now. Okay, this was server 1. Connect. Okay, I need to give the username and password. So like this, I'm going to access or take remote to all my 3 virtual machines. Okay. Okay. So as you can see that I access all my VMs. This is my server 1, this is my server 2, and this is my test VM. Okay. So first I'm going to make my server VM means Windows Server 1 and Windows Server 2 as a web servers. So I need to go to my Windows Server 1 first. Okay. Now I'm going to add rules. Okay, I need to add web server role. Okay, in both the servers. Now click on next now over there. Okay, so this is Windows Server 1, IP address is 10.0.0.4. Okay, click on next again, and in that we need to go down and choose web server. Okay, IIS. Click on add features and click on next. Click on next. Click on next. Okay, this is the by default components automatically taken. Okay, so we don't do anything in there. Click on next, simple. Okay, and enable automatic restart feature. Okay, I just restart automatic restart enable. Yes, and click on install. I do same thing in my Windows Server 2 as well. So I minimize this one. Now I'm going to my Windows Server 2. Okay, now click on add roles and features again. Click on next again. Because I already told you that the servers are slow, so have patience when you work on servers. Click on next, have patience. Okay, now we have Windows Server 2, IP address is 10.0.0.5. Click on next now. Okay, Now I'm choose again over there also the same web server. Okay, and I'm click on add features. Click on next. Click on next. So it takes some time. Okay, click on next again. I'm not using anything. I'm choosing the by default roles. Okay, in web server. Click on next again. Now choose enable automatic restart. I just select restart enable automatically. Click on install now. Okay, so now it's going to start the installation. Okay. Okay, so as you can see that if I click on Windows Server 1, so in Windows Server 1, my IIS is installed successfully. Click on close now. Okay, click on close this also, and I'm going to modify the page now. Okay, so I open my file explorer. Okay, here is I need to open my C drive. Okay, meanwhile we can see in my server 2 also you can see that the installation is succeeded. Okay, now I'm in server 1 right now. Okay, so I need to open this C drive. Over there inetpub www root. Okay, I modify the page. Okay, so I can choose just modify this page. Okay, so I just click on this and okay, so now I need to write somewhere something. So right over there, this is my web server 1. Okay, okay, so as you can see that this page is my web server 1 page. I save this page now. Okay, now close it again. Okay, okay, now I need to go to my server 2. Okay, and same thing I need to go click on close. Now I'm going to open my file explorer. Okay, so why I'm changing this, like if the request goes to server 1, so at least I know where the request goes, because if I'm not changing the pages, so by default the pages are same. Okay, by default the default page of IIS is same on both the servers, so we're not able to rectify that where the we are able to recognize that where the request goes. Okay, so that's why I change the default web page. Okay, if you want to use, you can use your make page also. Okay, you can, if you don't want to use the default page, you can use your own page, you can use your own page as well. Okay, so I'm just editing my default page only. Okay, okay, so as you can see that I modify the page. This is my web server 2 page. Okay, okay, now what we need to do. Okay, fine, now everything is set now. Okay, so I modify the page, my this servers, the member web servers. Okay, so now I can go to my first I need to check the load balancer IP address. So if I click on there, so my load balancer IP address is, if I open my load balancer, Okay, so I just click on internal load balancer 1, and you can see that my load balancer IP address is 10.0.0.7. Okay, so now I'm going to test. Okay, so how we can going to test? I go to my VM test VM. Right now I'm in my test VM. Okay, as you can see that this is my test VM. So I am in my test VM. Okay, so I open over the Internet Explorer. So search once. Okay, so this is my Internet Explorer. Okay, so I'm going to click on this, and now my load balancer IP address is 10.0.0.7. Okay, and I hit an enter over there. So you can see that where the request goes. The request goes to web server 1 now. Okay, so now it's 6:10. Okay, at 6:10, when I access, it goes to web server 1. Okay, now we can see after 4 minutes. Okay, now we can access again. Now it's 14 or 15 maybe. So it automatically goes to web server 2. Okay, understand? So this is my 10.0.0.7 is my, you can see that this is my load balancer address 10.0.0.7. See, this is my load balancer address. Okay, sorry. Okay, this is my load balancer address. Okay, so I put my load balancer address in my test VM, and you can see that it's automatically goes to web server 1 address. Okay. Okay. Now let's see. Let's wait till 6:15. Okay, and let's see. Let's wait till 6:15. Okay. Okay. So now you can see that I just try again. It's around 4 to 5 minutes past. Okay. Still it's showing me the server 1. Okay, so sometime it happens. Okay, so as you can see that it's still showing me the server 1. Okay, sometime it takes more than 4 minutes. I just wait only 4 minutes. Okay, so as you can see that how we can configure the internal load balancer. Okay, so I hope that's it for this video, guys. Okay, that's it. How we can implement that is the way how we can implement internal load balancer. Okay, so I hope you're able to understand the video. Okay, please like this video, share the video with your friends. If you have any doubt, any question, please comment on this video. Okay, thank you for watching, guys.